Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, sorry I've got a bit of beef jerky in my mouth. Weird. Hi everybody, Russ and My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. New channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell icon so you may know anytime we put new content on. As always, I'd like to thank our lovely channel sponsors. There we go, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. So we've got another episode. I've been having texts, people been DMing me, messaging me, wanting to get, when's the next Outside the Bubble? Well, it's today. We've got another episode of Outside the Bubble. People are really enjoying this episode. And today we've got a Man City fan. So that'd be really, really cool. As I said, we just spoke before we started recording, and there was this mutual respect between Man City fans and West Ham fans. So hopefully, guys, and there's a lot of players who played with both eventually. So we'll come to that in a minute. But I'll just introduce him. It's DJ Daps. There he is. How you doing, bruv?
Happy afternoon. Firstly, Chesney Hawks, sensational.
Bless him. The one and only lives in LA. Old Ches. He was my 50th guest.
Okay.
I think. So yeah. So
what
I just So I said, call me the one and only. And he went, all right, I will. And bless him. He'd even gone and changed his shirt to put like an old West Ham shirt on as well.
Yeah.
He's a top boy, Jez. How are you, man? How's things with you, bruv?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm nervous. Very nervous. For people that we don't know, it's the day of our second leg of the Champions League. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And I've got to watch. We're filming an episode for our podcast tonight. Not a Manchester City thing, another thing. But I've got 2 United. No, sorry, I've just realised 3 United fans are going to be in here with me tonight.
Ooh. Mm.
And I think 2-1 going into a Champions League second leg is probably the worst result you can really. Obviously, to be behind 3-0 would be worse, but it's the worst way to be going into a result winning because they've got an away goal. So I'm just nervous, and we're awful. We go out and under Pep last 3 years, same round. So
and Dortmund are. This will go out after the games. Doesn't matter a bit where it happens. Good luck, obviously. But because I really want Man City to win the Champions League because it means. Man City I want to win the Champions League because if Liverpool win it and don't get into the top 4, although they won't win it because they're 3-1 down, but it fucks up all the top 4 places.
Yeah. Well, and I can say right now that I've been getting asked a question on podcasts who I think will finish in the top 4, and before I answer it, I say every time I want West Ham to finish in that top 4 so badly, so badly, because it's a good story.
Yeah.
Moyes has come in, Lingard's gone in, and there's a lot I'd love Nolan to, get to. Is it Nolan? Noble, Nolan. Always get mixed up.
Mark Noble's still playing. Kevin Nolan's on the bench. He's the coach. Yeah.
So Noble's last season would be great to play in the Champions League.
It would be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool. It's funny. It's like, obviously, I do a lot of stuff with Leicester City Fan TV and stuff as well, and they're, and so I've said to them, I said, whoever won on Sunday, I reckon is going to be in the Champions League. I reckon not both of us. So,
you're in better form at the moment.
We are, and we've got, and our running after Chelsea and Everton, our running is probably your dream running. It's all like Burnley, South. No disrespect to Burnley, Southamptons, people like that who should already be safe or on the beach.
I really hate to say it as well, but I also think that your manager might have a bit more calmness about him to get you over the line compared to. Firstly, they're probably the two managers that have done amazing jobs. Brendan Rodgers and Moyes, and both of them bouncing back from maybe last time they were in the Premier League with bigger clubs.
Yeah.
So they've got something to prove, but you know what, Leicester, I was actually going to say, when you were talking before about how City and West Ham have got this mutual respect for each other, it actually feels very similar towards Leicester as well. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose you're both title winners, aren't you? So
but I am, and coincidentally, I went to the second to last game at I don't want to pronounce it wrong, so I'm going to say Upton Park.
Yeah, we can say Upton Park, the bowling ground. It's
the bowling, bullying, whatever. But I went to the I think it was the second to last game. The 3-2, was it 3-2 against Arsenal? Or was it 3-0 in the end? Where you were 2-0 down? And then what's it called? Hat trick. Geordie guy.
Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll, hat trick.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it was. I don't think it was a second. It was very close to the end because I think the second from last was actually the Swansea game. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact is, you got to see the last. You got to see the bowling, which is phenomenal, man. But yeah, no, it's good. And obviously, yeah, you said nervous about Champions League, obviously, but the title, yeah, when's that going to be wrapped up by Daps?
Soon, hopefully.
Well, if you don't get another point,
what really irritates me. I wish we could have just done that and put that to one side because we've got now. Even once we get through this, we've then got to play the FA Cup against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, we've got the Carabao Cup, and it's like all of a sudden we could be in complete meltdown before. Look, I haven't supported City for 2 weeks. I've supported them a long time, and I'm used to failure, so I'm kind of like really nervous about everything, even the league. To be honest with you, I have this persona. I have two personas. I have the persona when I'm facing Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
And then I have the persona when I'm with all other fans.
Yeah.
The persona around the rest of them, once it gets to January, February, and we're in a good position, is quite arrogant because I've taken so much crap off of them that I feel I'm going to give some back. But with other fans, I can be myself and be a bit more nervous and be like, I don't really... Until we win anything, we could end up trophyless this season. We could still.
Wow. That would be the collapse of all collapses. That would be the one we're still talking about in 20, 30 years' time if that's happened.
Well, especially because I've been going for Ollie all season saying, United, you're not going to win anything under Ollie. You're not going to win anything under Ollie. If this backfires, then I'm going to be...
Oh dear! But I mean, it's one of those things where and again, Carabao Cup. Every West Ham fan in the world is going to be with you because obviously it's Spurs. And again, if Spurs win and they're outside the top, it all buggers up, all the league positions and stuff. But in terms of Europe, I wouldn't mind one of them. I wouldn't mind one of them for West Ham. Win something would be nice. They've done one fuck all in my life, but
I mean, that was the same for me until what are we? We're 2003. Until 12 years ago.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
The only thing I'd seen was the only trophy I had seen was a second. Sorry, at the time it probably was the first division playoff final.
Yeah,
so
same as us.
Third tier of English football playoff final. That was all I'd seen. So. It can happen.
It's good, man. I think that's why there's this sort of mutual. I mean, it seems when Chelsea sort of went for their period of dominance, there was a real sort of like, well, they sort of buying it, but with City, I don't know. I just get a different sense. I'm not so. What's the word?
I think our fans are different. Our fans are, honestly. I mean,
I think you're right.
Chelsea fans have won one Champions League. If you speak to most Chelsea fans, you'd think they've won 27 Champions Leagues because they're very different. They're so confident. Like I've got a few mates that are Chelsea fans. They've bought their tickets to the Champions League final. They've bought flights to Istanbul a round ago. That's how confident they are. Whereas City fans, in all this form we are in, the amazing things we're doing, we're all still nervous as hell that we're not going to make it. But we're just different. I think I think our fans are probably similar to West Ham fans as far as that we are called the citizens because we are a community. This is, I mean, I've got a southern accent. Yes, people, I now live down south. I used to live in Manchester until I was 16. Then I moved down south. But we are called the citizens because we're the local club of Manchester. And the great thing with the owners that the owners have done is they really embrace that. They haven't tried to pull us away from, of course, they want us to be global, but we're still, you speak to a normal City fan, we're all the same. We're all nervous as hell about everything and think everything's going to go wrong. And, we all just want to win the league. We don't care about the Champions League. We just want to win the league because all we celebrated was United not winning the league. That was all we celebrated growing up. So
exactly. I think also because you've come from, as you said, from you've worked your way back up. You went down and worked. I think that's why I think there's this sort of different appreciation of Man City than Chelsea, because Chelsea's always been there and they just had extra money. And you said you're right. The fans, I think that's fair enough to say. And you're right in terms of as you said, the citizens. And there's this real sort of like, even now, you said there's regardless of how much money's been spent, you're still very much about about the town, about the city rather. So no, it's good luck to you. But at the end of the day, if you don't get another point and we win every game, we've won the league. So
really,
it's technically,
you can still win it.
It's technically still in our hands.
But listen, Lingard likes a goal or two, so you never know.
Jay Lings, man, Jay Lings. Yeah, he's cost a few people some. We had. There's a YouTuber called Jackmate who basically said to Jay Lings if he scored 7 goals this season, he'd get a Jay Lings tattoo, and now he's done 8. So that's done. And apparently Mark Noble bet with Jay Lings at the beginning when he joined, if he'd scored 8 goals this season, then he would put him up in a night in the Corinthian Hotel in London, that really fucking expensive one, and pay for a night out for him. So that's going to cost him a few grand.
Do you know what, it will for a Lingard night out, because he likes to party. So
he does.
I really love it, because I'm a fan of Lingard, but when he played for United, I couldn't really be. And I keep saying when it comes to England, that I feel that firstly he's earned the right to be there, but secondly there is something about him that's very infectious, and that a squad, not all players in the squads end up starting. I think he is a character. He's definitely a character that seems to lift the spirits of everyone. I think England need him there. I think they really do.
No,
and he can get a goal as well. I mean, he's shown that. He's
loves a shot.
Was it what they're calling him? Lionel Lingard? I don't know.
Whatever.
Messi, whatever it is.
The Mancunian Messi, we call him. The Mancunian Messi. But you're right. And, from someone like Jesse, from being a Man United reserve to potentially an England starter in the space of about, 3 months? It's mental. But he's a good player.
And it's good for him as well, because I know he's been through a very hard time over the last kind of year and a half. So it's really good to see him bounce back and looking like himself. And he seems... do you think he'll sign for you? Or?
I think he will.
Yeah.
I think he will, because I think he's... he won't go back. I mean, the thing is that Man United is one of... as I said, he was... Ollie let him go on loan. And it's like,
Totally.
Whereas, all these other teams, it seems like any other half-decent teams looking at him now, if he goes there, it's going to be the same thing as the way he's dealt with at Man United. He'll be...
Totally.
Whereas at West Ham, he's a big fish. It's like the same as Declan Rice, same thing, big fish, little pond. And as long as the team keep improving, and we compete and various, and the great thing about Jading, he's 28, 29, but I liken him to my car. So my Mini I've had for about 10 years. He's only done 25,000 miles. There's a lot of miles on that clock. He hasn't played a lot of games. I think Harry Kane's played about 150 more than him, and they're roughly the same age.
Kane's ankle's going as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whereas Jay Lings, he's got a good couple of years in him. So hopefully, I think if we're in the Champions League, definitely. If we're in Europe, we'll be in Europe hopefully by whatever happens, and that will be enough for him to want to stay, and then it will be enough to convince Deck to carry on staying here as well, because they seem to get on well together.
That's it. I think the other thing with Lingard as well, and sorry, I know this isn't actually the way this podcast usually goes.
Mate. This podcast goes wherever we want it to go, so don't worry.
The other thing with Lingard, I think, is, again, for someone that has really suffered from mental health, he's happy. And I think if you've suffered from mental health and then you find happiness, then sometimes you'll put that over maybe other things and think, do you know what? I'm happy. I'm in a good place. Why would I want to leave? Like, actually, why would I want to leave when I'm in a happy place? And so I think it's a good... I'd love him to play for England and score some for us. So
yeah. And right, he's an infectious personality, and we lost a couple of people like Robert Snodgrass, who wasn't a starter, but he was a great squad player, and that's what I like about Moyes. He's bringing in characters, and as Jay Lings, I was the same when it first came up. We were going to sign Jesse Lingard potentially. I thought back to 2015-16 season when he sort of live Instagrammed inside the bus when he'd been attacked at West Ham. I thought, I
forgot about that.
I don't want that knob turning up. He's going to just disrupt our team spirit. But actually, he's matured. That was 5 years ago. He's a different person now, and he has just given this and I watch him play. Obviously, I'm still at all the games, which is great. And
oh wow,
yeah, because I do the match day I play the music in the stadium. I've done it for like 20 years.
Cool.
So I'm still there. And he's just infectious. And what I love about him is he like a lot of people will do a pass, and it's probably not so much the case at City, but definitely at West Ham. Someone will do a pass and it'll just about get to their feet. They put enough effort in to get the pass on. Jadings wants a pass, bang, straight to their feet. You know, it's just really silly things like that. But he just looks such a good player, and the fans have just taken to him so much, and that's why hopefully we'll get 10,000 in for the last game of the season, and they can show. I mean, a lot of our players haven't played him.
With the size of your stadium, you probably will get about that.
Yeah, we'll get the 10,000 in there. Yeah, that's for sure. So, and that'd be great because a lot of our players, haven't played in front of a crowd at West Ham crowd. So Sue Fowl.
I hope they get 10,000 I hope they get 10,000 true West Ham fans and not 10,000 just bought their seat. I hope they look at it and look at how long someone's held a season ticket at West Ham, whether it be Upton Park or the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, well, I think it's based on the fact the 2,500 before Man United at the beginning, like halfway through the season. I think it's basically people pay up front, so it's people who paid their season ticket up front, and that's what it is. So, but we'll see. As you said, hopefully, and and if Boris's roadmap works, then next season we'll have you'll have a full crowd at the Etihad, full crowd at that'd be awesome, man.
That'd be good. Yeah,
it is. It's people have asked about the stadium. To me, has it benefited the team? And I think initially it did benefit the team. Definitely not having any fans there because it can be a hostile atmosphere. West Ham, it can be, and it was toxic over the summer. It was horrible over the summer. We'd stayed up with a couple of games to spare. We'd had an okay pre-season. Then we sold Lingard just before the summer starts. Noble came out on Twitter and said, "Oh, no, we didn't want him to go." So and then we had a really shit game. Basically, played really shit against Newcastle. A crowd there would have got on their backs, and then the next game, it's such a hard run.
You had a good game against us at the beginning of the season, though.
Great game. That 1-0 was really good.
If it wasn't for Antonio getting injured, I think you probably would have won it.
Happens a lot with West Ham. If it wasn't for Antonio getting injured, or if it wasn't for Antonio hitting the bar, we've hit the bar something like 20 times this season, more than any
Great
club.
Great striker.
Good forward. Not, he's. I think.
Good forward. Good.
Yeah, I mean, for you guys, who do you want in the summer, man? Who do you want in the summer to join City?
Lukaku.
Ooh.
No, I want Haaland, but
you want Haaland, yeah.
I want Haaland, but Chelsea seem obsessed with him. I think I don't see Haaland as a City player. I just can't see it. We haven't broken many transfer records. We don't like his agent. We hate his agent. I don't want Messi. He's too old. And I want us to stick. I want another player that Pep's going to leave in 2 years. We need Pep to be leaving the place in. We don't need Pep and Messi leaving the Etihad at the same time, and then all of a sudden our team to just go like that. We need a striker that's got 10 years in him. Haaland, ideally, if not Haaland, Lukaku.
That's nice.
I don't think we'll get Haaland. I think more chance of Lukaku, maybe. So
it'd be interesting. There's a lot of big boys around, isn't there? It depends what PSG do with Real Madrid and vice versa. And there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some big and particularly in the Premier League, if West Ham get into the top four, there'll be a lot of the traditional top six will be spending. It's happened when Leicester won, didn't they? When Leicester won, everyone went, "Oh fuck, we've got to start spending some money." Same thing's going to happen. I think
Chelsea going to spend huge. I think United. I mean, I wouldn't say no to Kane, but unfortunately for Kane, I think Chelsea's owner is going to probably price Kane out of getting a move because he's 28 and Levy's not going to accept any less than 150 million probably. The only club that I think might buy him would be United might buy him maybe. Yeah. I don't think City will. I think they'll look at his age, look at his global value and think... Nah.
Again, he's not. I wouldn't see him as a City player. Do you know what I mean? It's like not the way you play.
He does drop deep. Pep likes players that can drop deep, but I just think with his injuries, with his age, and yes, in England he's a superstar, but globally we kind of, if City are going to spend 150 million, which we don't do. I know everyone thinks when I say that, you spend loads. We don't. Our record signing is not as high as many other clubs. We buy a lot of younger players for like 60 million around there. For us to spend 150 million, I think we would want a global superstar. We wouldn't want a Harry Kane, and especially a 28-year-old with ankles that go in. And I don't know. Pep came out and said we're not buying anyone apparently. So who knows?
Believe that. Right. Anyway. Let's do these things. Obviously, everyone we get on. Go on, you go. Go on, you set yourself up. Get your bit of paper. Get your bit of paper, Daps. That's it. And obviously, we mentioned that mentioned the podcast, Never a Foul. Check it out, guys. On Twitter, @, Never a Foul. So check that out. Lots of great content. It's not City. There's Tottenham. They do loads of stuff. So it's a growing channel. So share them some love. Great, So it's all going good. As I was saying, while Daps is wherever Daps has gone, what we do is we get an opposition fan. We talk about their season, and then we put together a combined 11 of players who played for both clubs, just to show that it doesn't matter what shirt you're wearing, we're all human underneath. And there's actually City and West Ham. There's a number of players who have played for both. This is going to be, I think, a bit of a. There's a lot of players, as me and Daps were saying, but it's going to be a bit of a patchwork job. It's a bit like West Ham. It's a bit like West Ham at the moment. We're going to have to place maybe some centre halves, some centre mids and centre backs and stuff like that. But we'll get there.
It's funny you said that. I'm sorry. I just smiled when you said about we're all fans and everything. I just went to the shop on my lunch break, and ended up getting in an altercation with a Man United fan, and it was just like.
Well, there you go. It doesn't matter where you are down south, innit? It doesn't matter south or north.
There's more down here than there is up there, to be honest.
Exactly. Very true. True. Right. Okie dokie. So what we do is Daps has got 11. I've got 11. We'll go through the 11s. If we've got the same player, great. They go straight into the 11. If not, we'll have a bit of a chat and see. Actually, I might agree with Daps, but Daps might agree with me, and then we'll just put together the 11.
I'm hoping you're going to bring some up that I missed.
We'll see. Right. We'll start between the sticks in goal. Okay, I always go away team first. So Daps, who have you got in goal for this combined 11?
Right, so I'm going to whittle it down to 2, then I'll whittle it down to 1. For me, it's between Joe Hart and David James.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Joe Hart merely because of how good he was at City. However, I'm waiting.
Do you know, I always feel sorry for Joe Hart. I feel so sorry for him because a goalkeeper's career is judged by mistakes, isn't it? It's not judged about how many goals, obviously clean sheets. It's about mistakes. And I felt so sorry because I think, he's still a good keeper. Wherever he's gone, he's played.
Amazing shot stopper.
He is, and he'll have a mistake, and that's it. Oh, bloody Joe Hart. Oh, it's all the same. No, it's not. You know what I mean? I felt sorry for him. Obviously, I'm going to put in David James because JMO played a lot more games than us, basically.
Yeah, it's the same for both of us. I think when we did a City best 11 of the last 10 years, I think we agreed Ederson in goal, but we had the debate. And when we spoke about Joe Hart, the amount of sensational nights he had in the Champions League for us early doors, and also the amount of points he actually saved us in our first 2 title winning seasons.
Yeah.
We had games where our defence was awful, and Joe Hart, he's a great shot stopper. It's just exactly like you said, when it's defenders and goalkeepers, you don't have the luxury of midfielders and forwards and especially I always use the example, if you buy someone from abroad and they come over, if you're a midfielder or forward, you're allowed a bad season. Your first season is allowed to. Defenders, you're not.
People to mop up.
Just defenders, you have 1 or 2 bad games. Your confidence is like that. And so...
it's so true.
Yeah, I mean... They've probably both got similar England caps, right? James and Hart as well.
Must have. They sort of followed one after the other. I mean, I know exactly what you mean with goalkeepers. Like Robert Green. Robert Green was a fantastic goalkeeper for us, but everyone remembers him because of United States. And and that's the thing. That's a real. I'm gonna put JMO in only because JMO's been on the channel. And if I don't,
wow.
Oh yeah, we've had almost 70 ex-players on the channel, and hopefully a couple more in the 11 will be in there.
Another thing is, so I've been a City fan since I was about 5. My stepdad, who raised me, is City. My real dad's Watford. So
there you go.
David James, Watford. There we go.
Yeah. Good old JMO. Well, we'll put JMO in. Yeah, David Jones was brilliant. It was a great interview, and so much so he did his Hammers 11, and he completely forgot to put Paolo Di Canio in, which was brilliant. And it was only the next day he was talking to someone else I know, and they just said they were talking about the interview, and he's like, I can't believe I didn't put Paolo Di Canio in my 11. But anyway,
do you know what?
Bless him.
If not for any other reason, Paolo Di Canio has to be in the 11 for the fact that he stopped play.
Yeah.
And
the Everton
remember
game,
where we stopped and said, no, this isn't like that. That would never happen.
Daps, to be honest, he wasn't going to score.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't that good a position.
It was a really shit cross. But yeah.
It was like kind of there.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
On the edge of the area. But
right, Jamo, we'll put Jamo in. Jamo's in. Right, Jamo's in goal. Brilliant. Okay, well done. Right, okay, let's go. What we'll do defenders. And then we'll try and put them in some position, because sometimes you might put a right back, left back, or whatever. So, who's your first defender?
Right. So defenders I found hard, and I'm waiting to see if you're going to come through and tell me some central defenders, because at the moment I'm kind of playing a lot of players that generally play out wide. But so defenders, the first one I have to put in there is Pablo Zabaleta, because he's an absolute legend. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put Pablo in. Pablo's in. That's a given.
Would he be in for you as well?
Yes, he's in my one, because I mean, he was a legend at your place, and he came in, bless him, he was towards the end of his career, but he was
legs were going.
Yeah, and there's a couple of times he got skinned, when we were playing, I don't know, like Watford and Zaar, and on the left, but he couldn't he couldn't question his commitment, and that's what. And I mean, it's the same as you guys, isn't it? You just want a player who's going to put the shirt on and play and have a go, and he did, man. And he did. I love the way you put your glasses on for other things, and but not for. I don't wear glasses when I do this as well, because
I can see this is when I'm reading small print, and I had to read small print.
Right, Zab's in. First one's in. That's easy enough. Right, who's your next defender?
Oh, so then I had, he has to be in there. Stuart Pearce.
Yes. Okay. So we're doing well so far. I'm going to put Pearce in as well, and I'll put him as
Pearce might end up being central, because
I've put him central as well for that reason. But I mean, as you said, he did great at you, and he came and at the twilight of his career as well for us, and he actually won Player of the Year, Hammers Hammer of the Year. The year he played, and he was 37, which was remarkable. And obviously, then after that, he then went to you, and played 40 times, something like that in a city. He's brilliant. I love Pearce. He's a top boy, and obviously he's still in the, he's still involved with, he's in the coaching staff. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Where?
West Ham. Yeah. We've got them all. We got him. We got Kevin Nolan. We got and Piercy. What he likes, his job is to sit in in the stand, and he's like the bird's eye view of the pitch.
Okay.
So that's his job. But I love Piercy. He's a top.
No, he's still there.
Yeah. He came. Yeah, he not the original Psycho. We had a guy called David Cross. He was the original Psycho. Piercy's the second coming. So, because he was coach when Moyes first came in, and then when Moyes came back in, he wasn't made. They didn't let him become a coach because there was a slight discrepancy about Piercy and in the media and stuff like that. And then it changed, and then he became a coach. And and our defence has improved. Well, not the last few days, but last few games, but it has improved a lot since Pearson.
A sensational defender. Am I right? He played on the left, right?
Yes, left back, really. But we'll put him left centre back at the moment, just because I think we're going to struggle a little bit. Okay, right. Who's your next defender then?
Right. My next defender is Wayne Bridge.
Yeah. Okay. I put Bridgie in as well. I put him on left back. Yeah, I put Bridgie in. Obviously, didn't play a hell of a lot of games for us. 25, 26 games, I think Bridgie played for us.
He played a bit more than that for us, but it wasn't a huge number either.
No, I think he came on loan. I think he came on loan from you guys to us. And let me just see, because Wayne Bridge was an interesting one.
I love Wayne Bridge because one of the best interviews comes off the back of Wayne Bridge and John Terry incident was Craig Bellamy's. After we beat West Ham, not West Ham, Chelsea, I think it was 4-2 at the Bridge. And Bellamy got asked. Well, Carlos Tevez. God, I'm mentioning all the names that have played.
You're giving all the spoilers away, Daps.
Tevez got asked if the game meant a lot because of the Wayne Bridge side, and Tevez just smiled at the camera. And then Bellamy came in and was like, "We all know what John Terry's like. No one's surprised by this. We all know what he's like." And then kind of got back into, "Oh, hold on, Craig, be professional." And was like,
Yeah.
But of course, he's a great captain. But yeah.
Brilliant.
So,
Bridgie's in. Okay. Now,
are you going to go with one?
Okay, right. I can tell you who we could put in, but I'm not going to put him in. Okay, just to fit in the system, we could have put in Tal Ben Haim.
See, he was the only other defender I could work out.
I don't want to put him in.
I don't think he's very good. I didn't like him.
I didn't think he didn't play a lot of games for us. Didn't play a lot of games for you. A person I would like to put in, because I think he could have played there. I don't know if he played there for you, and I've got a feeling he might have played once, maybe there for us. Is the late great Mark Vivian Foe.
He used to play as a defensive midfielder. He used to play as a wing back.
Yes. I'm gonna. So we could shoehorn him in, because I think we've got so many midfielders that I think, and obviously, you know, he was a fantastic servant for both clubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, you know, when Di Canio scored that incredible goal, everyone talks about the Trevor Sinclair. Oh dear, another spoiler maybe. The cross for the Di Canio shot, but Foe did the tackle, which was an incredible tackle, which led to it. And he was a giant. And the first, he's brilliant. And he was like the first one of that sort of big generation. Sort of that sort of big, African sort of central defenders. And sort of the Vieiras and the Torres.
Yeah. He was.
He was the first one.
Just so powerful.
Oh, brilliant player. Just broke up play so well. Right, okay. So do you know what? That ain't bad. You know, we've cobbled that together, but that's all right. We're getting that. I think the rest of the team's going to be more interesting. There's lots of options, I think, elsewhere. So right, let's go into midfield then, Daps. Who have you got as your first midfielder?
Right. So are we going from wide to central?
You just pick one. You got four, so you pick one.
So the first name that has to be there is Frank Lampard.
Yep. Okay.
You don't seem like you're going to put him in.
Do you know what I am going to put Lampard in. It surprised me that you put him in, because, obviously he played so many games for West Ham, and he a couple of games he played. How many games he played for City?
He was only at us. I think he was only at us for about a season, and it was a bit part. But he did score against Chelsea playing for us, which was brilliant. And we got to see actually how intelligent a footballer he was. Even in the players, he's one of those players. We've had so many players in the twilight of their career and not look very good. Not really. I mean, even when I look at some of the players City have had actually have been like, on paper, we should have won the league a lot more times than we have, but they've been absolutely awful. Anelka wasn't really that great. Fowler, Steve McManaman. But Lampard, even though he joined us so late in his career, you could still just see his football intelligence. He was and he's underrated. He's so underrated. The guy is an absolute legend.
He is. He is, man.
If you're doing a midfield and Frank Lampard is an option and you don't put him in,
no, you're right, man. You're totally right. I mean, there's always a begrudgingness about West Ham and Frank Lampard in that, he was a fantastic player, but he was just Frank Lampard. But no, he is in. I put him in my team as well. I put him in centrally in the middle in my team. So we're doing it. We're not doing too bad, Daps. We haven't had any mass debates yet, so it's okay. Right, okay. Who's next?
I hope we don't masturbate together.
Well, you'd probably win, mate. To be honest, it's been,
Right. So next to him, Right, so you could have Ian Bishop.
You could have,
depending on how if we're playing next to him and we're playing going forward, you could also have Eyal Berkovic.
You can, yeah. There's a lot in that central spot.
Or you can have Steve Lomas is the other one.
Exactly. all of them would walk into the team. I mean, I put Bish. The reason I put Bish in is because I thought Lampard is like. I thought it'd be nice to have a slightly older.
Yeah, agreed.
And also, he's a friend of the channel, so if I didn't put him
in, and he'll do the dirty work as well. And with our defense, we need someone that's going to help out at the back because
and he was brilliant. I mean, he was a fantastic player at West Ham. He was a great player at City as well. Yeah, and he's still revered, and that's the mark of a really good player when they're like. They, despite the fact they've moved, I mean, I think Carlisle fans still love him, West Ham fans still love him, City fans still love him, and that's something about it.
And as well, when he hasn't been in a golden era for anyone,
very true.
Everyone still talks about him. That kind of tells you he was a big player. Like everyone at City knows him. I mean,
yes. So. That's a great shout. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it was hardly a great era at West Ham, but Bish is in, Lampard, and them two together would work. I mean, Bish used to always.
No, it really would.
That would work.
You could see it would work.
It would always work with what's the name as well, because obviously Bish used to partner John Moncur, but not the John Moncur who gets yellow cards, but the stylish John Moncur, and so they would work well together. All right, we're doing well. Right, who's your next player then, Daps?
Right. So I'm trying to think how we're going to play.
Well, who we got down? Let's go for a right.
We play with wingers and we play with either right. So Sinclair.
Yeah.
I think he has to start.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was good for both of us as well. To be fair.
He was fantastic for both of us. He was in an era. Obviously, again, it was one of those players who we resurrected his career from QPR. He got into England squad, and then he went to you, and he carried on. Again, another player who a bit like Bish. The way he interacts with fans on Twitter, and he's brilliant, isn't he?
I think he's actually. He was on Talk Sport today when I was out at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Sport, yeah.
He's great. Yeah. He's great sinks. We've had him on a few times. He's a lovely boy, and it means also, thinking about the old social engagement, Daps, he'll retweet it, and Bish will retweet it. So there we go.
Shout out Bish, Sinclair. Sinclair is. I often find you can kind of, and I think that's actually something similar between West Ham and City as well. When you see the club has players from. I mean, right, so if you look at Manchester City's board and the club now, right, they really, really engage with the bad eras, the eras that weren't great. They're still legends to us because they were as important as, Aguero is to people now. Like that's who I grew up with: Gareth Flitcroft, Steve Lomas, Uwe Rosler, Keith Curl, Richard Edgehill. So to me, they're my heroes. Like that's I refer to that age when we really weren't that good as my golden era because I loved football. I played football every day. I wanted to be these players, and that is the thing that when the club's drawing back, and it's like people like Trevor Sinclair, Paul Lake, all these different old players that are back around the club.
It's true, and also, I mean. When I do, obviously we did that Miami's 11, so we interview fans and players about, they put together an 11. There's always the way it's interesting when people put 11s together. 9 times out of 10, it's based on who their heroes were when they were a teenager. Your favourite type of music usually is when you were a teenager because it's and that's the same with the players. And you're right. For me, in the same way that you said Gary Flitcroft, all those guys, Keith Curl. For me, Bish. Pete Butler, who else? Trevor Morley, all these types of players were my era, and I mean, and in terms of how Bish and Sinks both love the club. During lockdown, they basically, it's the 125th anniversary of West Ham, basically this season, and they've put these sort of old-fashioned Panini stickers all the way around the outside. But obviously, no fucker's been there to see them apart from me. So I took a picture, and I saw one for Bish and I saw one for Sinks. I took a picture of them and just DM'd them. I said, "Have you seen this?" And obviously they hadn't. And both of them came back with the most. Well, it was like I had this perception of footballers that some people just treat it like a job, but these guys treat it as a love, and they were like honestly, that is one of the biggest accolades I could ever have. The fact I'm next to Bobby Moore, it's mental.
I feel like that era of football, and again, I might be wrong because maybe that era of football for West Ham and for City is different to if maybe an Arsenal and United fan and the players that played for them. But that era of football, I just find that the players are more in love with the game still, and not in love with the money and the everything else that comes with it.
Well, it's definitely true. Obviously, you have been fortunate enough to interview lots of like ex West Ham players. It does seem that probably the Sinclair era was the last era of when I thought football in general was fun. You know, they were all characters. I mean, that team itself, I mean, West Ham, you had obviously Sinclair, you had Razor, you had Ian Wright, you had Lomi, you had all these sort of characters. David James was the character.
Yeah, he was.
Eccentric. Nowadays, I find football just a bit boring. You know, like from that perspective, not from a professionalism, but from like, you'd go to football. I mean, I'd go and watch. You'd turn up and, if Di Canio was going to be playing like fantastically, or he was going to play like a little petulant child, it was a story. It was a story.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know what? Today, someone put in the group earlier about, in the WhatsApp group I'm in, about how Dortmund fans were letting off fireworks stayed outside City's hotel room at like 3 a.m, 5 a.m.
Brilliant.
And I was like, oh, brilliant. And then someone put, yeah, but you've got to love it. It's football. And I was like, do you know what? You're actually right.
That's brilliant.
That is football. That's football. If we don't have things like that and everything is just, it's not the football we love.
I think, it's definitely changed. I think, a classic example is, obviously we moved from the Bowling to the London Stadium. The Bowling until, you could, even then, all the players, like where I used to live in Essex, I still live in Essex, but a different part, they all lived around there. So you'd walk down, you'd walk into Safeways and bump into Shaka Hislop. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays, no disrespect to them, they've got the money for it. They're in Canary Wharf in a beautiful apartment, and fair play to them. You know what I mean? And I just think there's that disconnect. I mean, my daughter's not really into football, but my 8-year-old self now would be different because the most exciting thing to me was seeing Paul Kitson in Woolworths. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like
absolutely. I mean, I've often. People were putting up pictures the other day in our group of when they were younger with football players, and a lot of the players were like, everyone would know them, and I thought I could go and grab my City book, but I guarantee you, you're not going to know any of these players at all. Like, and we bumped into them regularly because they probably weren't on that much more than my dad, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I mean, even like now, I mean, the way modern stadiums are set up and the coaches, rather than it used to be, at the Bowling, the players used to turn up in their cars. And so, you could put your hand to the railings and get them to sign something. And now, obviously, not now because we can't do anything really. But
You queue up. You would all, there's the players' entrance and everyone would gather around the players' entrance to get the autographs. Like,
yeah. And that's come through because obviously you interview these players, you interview people like Bish and Sinks and Razor and people like that, and the stories they tell, and it's like nowadays you couldn't get away with those stories. You couldn't be arrested on a Christmas party and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's a different world now, completely different world. Right, okay. Anyway, Sinks. We've got Sinks, Lampard. There he is. So yeah, I tell you what, this midfield's looking tasty, my man.
Going back to Sinclair, am I right? Sinclair's golden era was probably at QPR.
I don't know. Well, the first he had like a resurrection, didn't he? He had that goal against the FA Cup goal, that bicycle kick when he had the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And then
he was good for us, but he wasn't like
No, I think he was at the tail end of his career when he came to.
Yeah,
I mean, he was sort of I think it was probably, I can't remember. Someone was saying that in the description, in the comments. I think it was like 26, 27. I want to say when he joined West Ham.
I think he kind of maybe handed the baton to Sean Wright-Phillips. Maybe.
Yes, it's a great shout. And then he resurrected his career. He wasn't, QPR. He was in the England squad. He obviously came in, played, I think 5 years for us. I want to say, again, I could be wrong. And then got back into the England squad for Japan. I think he got into the England squad.
Yeah.
Like
he
loads
did
of injuries.
Had a late little run for England, didn't he?
Yeah. And so he sort of resurrected it, and then went on, went to you guys. So, no, I think he's great. I love Trev. Okay, so who else we're going to put?
So then we move over to the other side if we're playing the wingers.
Yeah.
And right, we're going to be attacking because we've got Bishop holding. So we're going to put Craig Bellamy on the left.
Yes. It's in my book.
Good. Craig Bellamy, what a player.
Top boy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolute. I don't want to hear anything bad. I didn't like when I heard bad things about Bellamy because I think Bellamy is just a top human being in general. I think he's last of the old school. Someone loves it. Puts a golf club to him. Brilliant.
He's a great bastard player, isn't he? He's a bastard player. He's a bastard, but when he's your bastard, you love it.
United for us. Yeah. His injection of pace was insane. Would have been nice to get him a Premier League for us, actually, but it was just before that. But
for us, I mean, he didn't play. I mean, they bought him. The idea was to go big man, little man with Dean Ashton and Bellamy. But obviously, Dean Ashton, then he got injured, didn't he, by Sean Murphy?
A lot.
And
he was ex-Crew, right? Crew?
Yeah, Crew, Norwich, and then came to West Ham. And I think they only played half a dozen games, if that, together. But Bellas was, just a bundle of energy, wasn't he? It's just a complete...
Yeah, he really was. I think when we first signed him, I wasn't 100% on him.
Yeah.
But City fans grew to him so quickly because he was electrifying. And he scored some really... I mean, I remember beating Bellamy scoring against United. I will always remember that.
I mean,
bless him.
I mean, it could have been others. We could have put Mark Ward, Wardy. You see, that's getting back a little bit in the age.
Wow, I didn't get that.
Yeah, we could have put Wardy in.
That's probably the era when I could just about remember.
That's probably just before you. Yeah, I mean, Wardy was
Ian
great.
Brightwell, Mark Brightwell, late Keith Curl era. That I do remember it. My dad used to tell me about Ward.
Yeah, and he was, and obviously he went, he was at West Ham, our sort of what we call the boys of '86, where we finished third. The fact is, we've had so little success that we revere this team who finished third. And then he obviously went to.
He was our legend. Don't worry about it.
And he went, and obviously he went in a swap deal with Bish and Trevor Morley.
Oh, okay.
So it all worked out well. Right, so we could have put Wardy in, but we could have put in, who could we put in? Nasri. Sami Nasri. He played about 6 games for us.
Right, so for me, Nasri would be in that team.
Well, put Bellamy in. Because Nasri, he is only on loans for like 2 3 months.
But Nasri and also Berkovic, we haven't mentioned yet.
We haven't put Berkovic in, which is a bit of a travesty. But I think you're right. I think Bish. I'd rather put Bish in personally, just because I think he's.
With our defence, we need that.
Yeah, we need that sort of. We're looking at it as a system. If we put Berkovic and Lampard in, it'd be a bit attacking. We'd be first in the match of the day.
Great player though, Berkovic.
Oh, he was awesome. He made. We've had Johnny Artson on, and Johnny, basically he had a season where he smashed it and got like 25, 26 goals. 18 of them, 19 of them were for Berkovic's little dinks in. Amazing little player for us. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Kevin Horlock, we could have had in.
I was going to mention Kevin Horlock earlier.
We could have had Kevin Horlock.
Horlock in over Wayne Bridge.
Yeah. We can if you want.
Horlock was good for City, really good for City.
I liked him. Do you know what? Let's do that because I'll get daggers for putting Bridge in because he didn't.
I'd rather Horlock over Bridge.
Let's put Horlock in. I think that's a great shout.
I don't remember. My memory is better towards the era when Bridge was here. However, I don't really remember Bridge. But I remember Horlock from when I was very young. I think I nearly had Horlock on the back of his shirt. In fact,
really,
yeah, he was a good, solid player.
Yeah, he came in. If I remember, he came in when we was in the Championship, and he was just solid. And I think he's a West Ham boy anyway. So I think so. Yeah. And so
strange because this whole time I didn't Google him, but I kept having when I was looking at players that played for both. For some reason, Horlock kept popping up, but I kept just pushing it away. Like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Now you said it.
No.
Yeah,
and obviously Lomi. We passed him in part. Obviously Lomi, a legend at both clubs.
Definitely.
Absolute legend at both clubs. We love him. Right, okay, up front. Who's your first striker then?
Striker or forward?
Forward. It's two forwards, whatever. You pick who you want.
Forward would be Carlos Tevez.
Yes, well, but of course we have to put Carlitos in, don't we? It's just a matter of you just have to put him
Absolute bastard at both clubs who did us both dirty. However, you've got to put him in.
You have to. I mean, to be fair, if we're looking at it retrospectively, the lad really only turned up to 7 games. Really, when he after he tried to score for so long and he couldn't score, and then he scored and he was just mesmeric for the last 7 or 8 games. But yeah, he's revered, and he brought back the crossed irons thing. We did it in the 70s, apparently 80s, but we never did it for years, and he did it playing for United, which was bizarre.
For us, it doesn't get spoken about enough, but our first Premier League win was the season that he went AWOL to play golf. Completely did us dirty, fucked off, left us. Zabaleta apparently was the guy that said to him, look, get your ass back. If you want to move away, they're not going to let you go unless you earn your move. So get back. We had lost to we had lost to Arsenal on a Sunday game. There was, I think, 8 games left in the league. Carlos Tevez had been missing for about 3 months.
Yeah.
He came back on the Wednesday and partnered Aguero against Wigan. And from that game till the end of the season, we won every single game. And no one ever speaks about it. It was Carlos Tevez's return that seemed to spark it. But he was a bastard, but he was good. He was very good.
Yeah, he was very good. Never learnt English, which is because obviously we had the two, didn't we? We had Tevez and Mascherano both come at the same time. Mascherano did English lessons. Tevez didn't. And we interviewed Anton Ferdinand, and Anton said that Carlos would literally bring his interpreter everywhere, including nights out in the nightclubs.
There's so much I've heard about him. He got given a box. He asked for a second one. They gave him the second one. He knocked the wall down himself between the 2 boxes to make one huge box. And it's like, okay. And like I said, Zabaleta had this real thing that he hated all of not hated, but he really didn't like how a lot of foreign players in his early days at City joined City just for money. They didn't embrace City. They didn't learn the language. And Tevez was probably one of them. It's just he was so good that he could get away with it, unlike people like Fabinho that just weren't so good. So no, I would put Tevez in there. I hope you would agree.
Oh yeah, he's in my team. Right, we've got one more spot, Daps. Who are you gonna put in, man?
Paolo One Chop.
Oh, the One Chop. Do you know what? I had 2. I'll be honest. We'll put in One Chop, but I had 2. I had him and Trevor Morley, obviously, because we mentioned him anyway. So I had to put Trevor in because I like him. I love him. But we'll put Paolo in One Chop because, again, I think he's one of those guys who never gets mentioned at West Ham when we talk about that era, that Di Canio era. And he's got some crazy goals. He was
really good for you. I think he was better for you than he was us. He was just that player that you'd watch and you'd think, he looks so uncomfortable on the ball. He looks like he hasn't got a clue what he's doing, but scored some wonderful goals. And he looked like he was going to trip over the ball, and it just looked so awkward. But he was good. He was
good for us. Yeah, he was great for us. Oh, you should remind me because my sister couldn't pronounce it, and it always used to call him Paolo Lamb Chop. So every time I see Paolo, I was thinking Paolo Lamb Chop. Bless him. But I tell you what, we ain't done a bad team. Where is it? Look at that. That is gods. That's great. And with a bench of Joe Hart and Lomi and Berkovic and Bridge, and Orlok and Tyrone Mears. I remember Tyrone Mears. I think he played like 1 game for you. I think many years ago, and he played a few games for us at right back. But I didn't want to mention him because he didn't really play that often. But that's the team, man. It's very, very good. Very good.
Team. Very good team.
Very good. Daps, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure, man.
No, it really has been. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure.
As I say, I hope you win. I hope you get Champions League football. I really do. Everything crossed for you.
Exactly, and I hope you win the Champions League, just because and the Carabao Cup, at least them 2, and the league,
and
we still, as I said, we're still going for the league. So
if you have the Champions League. You can have the league.
That seems fair. We'll have a word. We'll get it sorted. We'll have a word with Pep and Boise. We'll sort it out between the two of them. But obviously, check out Never a Foul podcast,
YouTube, Twitter,
YouTube.
Everything else. Yeah,
Lots of great stuff. Not just like me, where it's just West Ham. They do it all, don't you? You do it all. So
yeah. And we need to get you on as a West Ham fan.
Yeah, we'll come on. We'll come on and have a chat. And until next time, from myself and from Daps, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jabs when you get your appointments. Come on, you irons. And what's the what's the come on the city? Come on, city.
Banana and sing Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. There we go. Anyway, take care, everyone. Much love. See